Am I the a-hole for canceling Mother's Day celebration that I arranged for my wife after hearing what she told my son? It all started like most things do, a chance meeting, a bit of loneliness, and the idea that maybe, just maybe, this time would be different. I'm 37, a widower, and I had my son, a quiet kid, 13 years old. He lost his mom a few years back, and that hit him hard. He's always been the kind of kid who keeps to himself, not in a concerning way, just, you know, he likes his space. Then I met her. She had a 16-year-old daughter from a previous relationship. So yeah, I got involved with a single mom. Looking back, maybe it seemed logical at the time. I had a kid. She had a kid. Let's merge and be a happy family. Sometimes you just want to believe in that easy answer, even when your gut's doing a slow churn. The family dynamic was complicated. Sometimes it was good. Sometimes it was a mess. My son, like I said, is the quiet type. Her and her daughter, the complete opposite. Loud, always on. They were always pushing him to be more outgoing, to join activities, to get involved with her extended family. He'd complained to me about it, how he felt like he was being forced out of his comfort zone, how they just didn't get that he needed his space. I'd talk to them, try to smooth things over. They'd apologize, promise to back off. For a little while, then it was back to the same old song and dance. Part of me, the hopeful part, thought maybe they were just trying to help him, encourage him to open up. But the other part, the part that's seen a bit of life, started to wonder if there was more to it. He was 13, for Christ's sake, and he'd been through a hell of a lot losing his mother. Maybe he was avoiding them because they were just too much, too loud, too demanding. As Mother's Day rolled around, I figured I'd do something nice for my wife. I decided on a surprise celebration. Not that it stayed a surprise for long. Her daughter, bless her heart, gave her a heads up so she could prepare. Women in secrets, right? Yesterday, I left work earlier than usual to get the final arrangements sorted. We were going to celebrate at this restaurant. Invited her whole family. I had my key, walked up to the front door, and as I was putting the key in the lock, I heard voices. My wife and her daughter, talking to my son. I paused. The door wasn't fully open yet, just a crack. I could hear them clear as day. My wife was asking my son if he could convince me to let him stay home, not go to the restaurant, for Mother's Day, with his stepmom. My son asked why, and she told him, said his introverted and socially inept attitude would make her family uncomfortable and ruin the mood. I felt my stomach clench. Ruin the mood, because he's quiet. What the hell kind of shit is that? He started trying to reassure her, saying he'd be well behaved, that he'd try to interact. She wasn't buying it, said she wasn't buying it. Then she snapped, told him that technically she's not his mom, so she didn't get why he wanted to celebrate Mother's Day with her so badly. That hit me, like a gut punch. You don't talk to a kid like that, especially a kid who's already lost his mother. Not if you actually give a damn about them. I just stood there, frozen, listening. I heard her daughter chime in with some snide comment, something about him always being in the way. It was then I pushed the door open the rest of the way. They both jumped, staring at me like deer in headlights. Their faces went from smug to shocked in a split second. I just looked at them, then at my son, who looked like he wanted the ground to swallow him whole. Go to your rooms. I told my son and her daughter, my voice flat. They just stared, not moving. Now, they scurried off. Then I turned to my wife. The celebration is off. Cancelled. She started arguing immediately, as expected. Why? Why are you doing this? She kept yelling. I just told her why. Plain and simple. I heard what she said to my son. She tried to backtrack, said she didn't mean it like that I only heard part of the conversation. Bullshit. I heard enough. I told her I was done arguing, that the decision was made. You can't argue with crazy, you just end up with a headache. She kept yelling, asking what she was supposed to tell her family, saying I was making a tremendous mistake. I just ignored her, let her throw her tantrum. This morning, early, she packed some stuff, took her daughter, and went to stay with her folks. Not a word from her, no call, no text. The house is quiet, too quiet. It's a mess. Emotionally, I'm still upset. But honestly, more than anything, I'm just hurt. I planned this whole thing for her, genuinely wanted to celebrate, and then I hear her talk to my son like he's a burden, a nuisance, not even family. It's a clear sign, isn't it? A big, flashing, neon sign. You hear stories. You see it happen to other guys. They get involved. The woman acts great towards your kids in the beginning, all sunshine and rainbows to reel you in. Then, once the ring's on the finger, or once she's moved in. Your kids become a problem, especially if you have kids together. Yeah, then your first kid is practically invisible. The whole wicked stepmother thing. It's not just fairy tales. There's a reason those stories have been around for hundreds of years. This isn't a new phenomenon. This isn't the first time they've been nasty to him. I've seen the way they look at him, the way they talk about him when they think he's not listening, or when they think I'm not listening. But this was a whole new level. He's 13, and he lost his mother. That alone is enough to mess a kid up for a long time. And she, his stepmother, basically told him he wasn't wanted at a celebration meant for her, on Mother's Day. The irony isn't lost on me. He's probably been getting crap like this for ages, which explains why he keeps to himself, why he avoids them. He probably just never told me the full extent of it because he was embarrassed. Or maybe he thought it was normal. I need to figure this out. First, my son is all I have in this world, and he's at a tough age. Being a teen sucks enough as it is. Without this kind of garbage happening at home, social media, everything these days, it's all tougher than when I was a kid. He needs me to protect him, not to bring more chaos into his life. I was always one to give the benefit of the doubt, to try and logic through things, especially with her. I always tried to see her side, to understand what she was feeling, to give her one more chance when things got rough. I defended her to friends who probably saw through her act from the jump. Maybe I even thought I could fix her issues, or that I was different enough that she wouldn't pull the same shit she did with her exes. Sunk cost fallacy. They call it all the time. Money, emotional energy invested. But now I see it for what it is. She wanted my son left out. Period. Her excuse about him being an introvert and ruining dinner, that's just a steaming pile of crap. No way in hell a polite, quiet kid ruins a dinner just by existing. She just wanted him out of the way. This cut deep for him. Being reminded that he doesn't have a mother on Mother's Day, and then being told by his stepmother that he's not wanted there. That's a wound that will fester. I caught her expressing her true feelings. She tried to cover her ass when she realized it, and then she threw a fit when I didn't buy her excuses. It's always someone else's fault with her. Always. She weaponizes mental health terms, talks about setting boundaries when she's just being selfish. Double standards for days. She wants princess treatment, contributes minimal effort, and completely disregards my feelings when she makes decisions. She starts conflicts, then plays the victim when I react. She spends my money freely, but hers, locked down. I should have paid more attention to how she acted charming in public, and then her true nature would come out the second we were alone. My son comes first. Always. No woman, no relationship, is worth losing your child over. And I don't want to hear about how it's not going to work. It's not going to work because she's shown me who she is. And I believe her. I need to talk to a lawyer, find out my options. I don't think we've been married long enough for it to be a complete financial disaster, but who knows what else she'll pull. The tantrums, the silent treatment this morning, it's all part of the game. It's manipulation. I've been so focused on providing, on protecting, on maintaining some semblance of a stable family for my son after everything he's been through. But I was protecting someone who was actively undermining me, undermining him. The stress has been building, affecting my sleep, my appetite. My work focus has been shot. It's hard to stay sharp when you're walking on eggshells at home. My friends have seen it too. The changes in me, the way I've been different. They've given me advice, told me what they've seen, but I always tried to give her the benefit of the doubt. No more. This situation demands clarity. I need to remove myself and my son from this chaos. I need to make decisions based on logic, not guilt or fear of what she'll say or do. I need to prioritize our well-being without apology. This isn't just about me anymore. It's about setting things right for my son, showing him what's acceptable and what isn't, and that he deserves to be treated with respect. This is about trust, recalibrating it, learning from this, making sure I identify these red flags faster next time, building better screening processes, not just for women, but for anyone I let into our lives. This isn't a relationship, it's a liability, and it's time to cut it loose. The silence in the house after she left was deafening at first. Then it became peaceful. My son came out of his room a little while later, looking hesitant. I called him over, sat him down on the couch next to me. He still had that tight, closed-off look on his face. I didn't push him to talk, just put an arm around his shoulder. He leaned into it a little, which was a start. He's not big on touch. Usually, "You okay, son?" I asked him, keeping my voice low. He just shrugged, looking down at his hands. "Yeah, I guess. Okay, about what happened." I started. What she said, it wasn't right. Not at all. He finally looked up at me, a flicker of something in his eyes, surprise. Maybe she just She never wanted me around. Dad, not really. It was quiet. But the raw honesty in his voice hit me harder than any of her yelling. He'd known it, felt it, probably for a long time. And I, in my blindness, had dismissed it, made excuses. That's a mistake I'll carry. My job was to protect him, and I let him down. I know. Sonnery, I said, my voice a little rougher than I intended. And I'm sorry I didn't see it sooner. I should have. That's on me. But I promise you, that kind of talk isn't acceptable. You are my son, and you are always wanted. Always. He just nodded, still looking down. I didn't press for more. He's not one to gush. But I could feel a slight shift, like a tiny bit of tension had left his shoulders. We sat there for a bit longer, just being. Then he got up, mumbled something about homework, and went back to his room. It wasn't a Hollywood ending. No big hugs or declarations. But it was real. And for us, it was a start. Later that evening, I called one of my buddies, Mark. He's been divorced twice, knows a thing or two about bad relationships. I laid it all out for him. No sugarcoating. The whole ugly truth. He listened, didn't interrupt, just grunted occasionally. Damn. Man, he finally said, that's rough. Knew something was off with her, but not like that. Your kid's a good kid. She's a piece of work. Yeah, I know, I replied, running a hand through my hair. I feel like an idiot, like I should have seen it coming. All the little things, the comments, the way she'd roll her eyes when he wasn't looking. It adds up. It always adds up. Eventually, Mark said, his voice grim, and you weren't an idiot. You were trying to build something. You wanted to believe the best. Happens to the best of us. Man, she played the game. But you caught her. That's what matters now. You got out before it got even worse. He was right. I'd been so focused on the idea of a blended family, on giving my son a mother figure, that I'd ignored my own gut. I had tried to rationalize away every red flag, chalking it up to personality differences or stress. I thought I was being understanding, empathetic. In reality, I was just letting myself be manipulated. She was good at it, twisting words, making me feel like I was the one being unreasonable if I ever questioned her. Why are you being so controlling? I can have male friends. That one got thrown at me plenty when I questioned her late-night texts from some colleague. You're making me feel unsafe right now if I dared to raise my voice when she was gaslighting me. She could make me feel like I was crazy for remembering something she'd said 5 minutes ago, telling me I never said that. Her behavior around her family, especially when I was there, was always different, all smiles and charm. The loving stepmom, the supportive partner, but behind closed doors, it was a different story, and I'd let that public facade blind me, protect the image of our relationship, even as it was rotting from the inside. So what now? I asked Mark. Lawyer? Right. Absolutely. He confirmed. Get one who's a shark. You need to protect your assets, your son, and yourself. Don't let her bleed you dry or try to poison your son against you. They'll pull that shit. Believe me. He then shared some of his own experiences about dealing with the practical logistics of separation, the lawyers, the division of belongings, the financial untangling. It was a hell of a lot to think about, but hearing it from someone who'd been through it, someone who understood, made it feel a little less overwhelming. This wasn't just about the emotional fallout, it was about the cold, hard reality of untangling a life. Housing, bills, shared commitments, all of it had to be dealt with. The next few days were a blur of phone calls and research. I talked to a couple of divorce lawyers, laid out the situation. They all pretty much said the same thing Mark did. Get aggressive. Protect yourself. My professional life had taken a hit already. My focus at work wasn't what it should be. Colleagues had noticed. Subtle comments about me looking tired, distracted. This whole thing was draining my mental health. My energy. I used work as a refuge, a place where things made sense, where there were clear rules and consequences. Home had become a minefield. I knew this wasn't going to be easy. She wasn't the type to just walk away quietly. There would be more tantrums, more accusations. She'd probably weaponize her family, her friends, social media. I could already hear her in my head. He's making a tremendous mistake towards me, followed by some convoluted story about how I was the one who screwed everything up. She'd probably try to turn my son against me, tell him all sorts of lies. The thought of that made my blood boil, but I had to stay calm, stay focused, make decisions from logic, not anger. This wasn't about revenge, it was about consequences. Her own behavior would lead to her own isolation eventually. She'd burned too many bridges. Her manipulation tactics would stop working as people caught on. She'd face the financial consequences of her entitled attitudes and poor decisions, especially without me there to be her wallet. This was her pattern, and it would repeat with someone else eventually. The benefits she got from me, the stability, the financial support, the constant understanding, would be gone, and she would have to face the reality of her actions alone. I sat my son down again a few days later, after I'd spoken with the lawyers. Son, I began, your stepmom isn't coming back. He just looked at me, his expression unreadable. Okay, he said, quietly. It's just going to be you and me now. I continued, and that's okay. We'll figure it out. We always do. He finally gave me a small, almost imperceptible nod. I knew it would take time for him to fully process it, to heal. But seeing that small nod, knowing he trusted me, it was enough. This whole ordeal had been a painful lesson, a brutal awakening. I had made mistakes, trusted too easily, ignored too much. But I was learning. I was taking accountability for my part in letting the situation get this far. But I wasn't going to be a scapegoat for her behavior. My loyalty had been misplaced. Now, my loyalty was solely focused on my son and on building a life for us that was stable, respectful, and genuinely peaceful. It wouldn't be easy, but at least now, we could actually start